Yes, we're back. Another episode of Crime de la Crime, co-hosted by Headless YouTuber and
Take that, my Rick.
Hey Charlie. Right now, they're your intros, we man.
Ah,
Yes, and we are live on Spotify, and also if you want to place ads right here, or you want to sponsor Crime de la Crime, let us know. You can see the phone number and also the email address right here on your screen. In case there's any picture you want to see the pictures and the videos, head to YouTube, Headless YouTuber, and just search for the Crime de la Crime playlist. Yes, Taylor Marik,
bro.
what happened?
We back.
I like your top.
Charlie.
This one too, you did it.
Mina. How we go do one?
Link
Let's
up
say
on
ball life
social
kakra.
media if you want any of
Let's say ball life kakra.
these drips. Charlie, let's talk. Today, what's up?
Charlie, today I want we could do a bit of history.
Okay.
So far we haven't gone into that. So, you see, in 1979,
Okay.
in fact, on 15th May 1979, the ex-president, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, had attempted a coup.
Okay.
At the time, it was the SMC that was in charge of the affairs of the country. They had also done a coup and taken over from K.A. Buzia. They are taking over from SMC 1. So they were SMC 2. That included Kutuo Champon, FIFA, and General Akufo. Somehow,
the SMC, what was the meaning?
Supreme, I've forgotten the Supreme something called Council.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was, unfortunately, that coup was failed, and Jerry was arrested. It is believed that coup happened because at the time, the military rulers at the time, which I mentioned already, they had not paid some junior military officers and generally some army officers. They hadn't paid them their salaries.
So I just searched for it. It's Supreme Military Council.
Yes. Yeah. So Jerry got pissed off about the whole situation and decided also that at the time when they had taken over, they are also doing almost the same thing that they overtook in Nkrumah. So he decided to take over and did that coup, which unfortunately failed. When that thing happened, what they did was they dragged him to a tribunal and they made it public. Somehow, J.J. Rawlings was able to turn that whole trial around to make himself popular. He accused them of corruption and all of that. And in fact, he had told them, like, yo, any other junior officer that you guys have caught, leave them alone because I was the only one who decided to do this. So he was pushed into jail. But quickly, a month after, this was in May, in June, and that is how come we got to know or we experienced June 4th.
Okay.
That revolution. The day before June 4th, junior officers had gone to the 37 camp, Burma camp, to go and take him out of prison. They broke him out of prison. And then the next day, the 4th of June, they took him to the GBC. It was on GBC that he announced that they are taking over. And he called on all officers of the army to meet him at Nicholson Park. If you know, inside Burma camp, there's a park there called Nicholson.
Yeah.
When you enter Burma camp. So that is how come the June 4th whole thing happened. When he took over the June 4th, which was 1979, they executed FIFA, Kutuo Champon, and then General Akufo. And then he handed over power to civilians. And that is when Dr. Lehman came to take over.
Okay.
Right, for PMP. But right after that, in 1981, 31st December 1981, that is how come we also got to eventually the 31st movement. Yes, exactly. So 31st December, he took over again. He did another coup. The reason being, and I've seen videos from the past where there were price hikes and all of that. So he took over in 91.
In 81.
In 81. Then in 83, there was a coup attempt against him.
Okay.
That was by Corporal Jiwa, Halidu Jiwa, and one Malik Abdul, which failed. There have been that when they go to, usually during the time when you wanted to take over power, you go to GBC, you overpower the guards over there, get to the radio and announce that, yo, we didn't in charge.
Just like that.
Just like that.
You don't even need to go and catch whoever is in charge.
No, you don't have to catch whoever is in charge. It is a plus, but the main thing is to capture a bunch of the military forces, right? But most of the times, what happened was once you were able to get there and declare that you were in charge, as to how you get there is another thing. So what happened with that coup was that when they got there, the faction, there was a faction between the leaders. Like, maybe me and you went there. You wanted to go and announce. Me too, I wanted to go and announce. And then they had captured, so GBC had, at the time, they had 3 gates. They had captured gate 1, gate 2, gate 3, and was left with gate 2. And instead of them to go and focus and capture gate 2, they were struggling on who was going to announce what. And then at the time, if you remember, Major Kari Kwashiga, he was working under Jerry at the time. And somehow they reorganized their men to go there, and then everything scattered. And then he took over. That day, he went on the radio and said, hey, we have taken power again. But that is not the discussion for the day.
Okay.
You see, in that period, between 81 and about to 1982 to about 89, there had been about 20 minor and major coup attempts against Rawlings. So it is fair to say that at the time, there was a very strict and crazy intense security intelligence being run by the PNDC. When, you know, in the first coup, when it took over in 79, it was the AFRC, right? And then when they took over after Liman, it became the PNDC, which was the Provisional National Defense Council, right? Which eventually became the NDC. So around the same time, Jerry John Rawlings had a cousin.
Okay.
Right? His name was Michael Soussoudis. Now, Soussoudis was born to a Greek sailor and a French Ghanaian woman. Okay. So he was a very fair guy. Soussoudis left between 19. He was born in what's the name? He was born in 46, but between 1966 up to 1983, he was mainly in the U.S. and Germany. He actually went to school in Germany. He went to college in the U.S.
Okay.
Right, and then before he could even finish college, he had gotten married and divorced. And then on about the late 82 or early 83, he came back to Ghana.
Okay.
All right, he came down, he became a businessman. But you see, when he came down, because in the US, he was even a permanent resident in the US. Right? When he came down, fair guy, he was almost like Jerry, also very fair like Jerry John Rawlings, nice looking young man. In fact, at the time, he was known as a playboy. Nice guy, half cool, fresh guy.
All the girls will be falling.
Exactly. But at the time he was 37 actually, 37 years. Around the same time when he had come to Ghana and being the playboy, the US already had an embassy here, right? And in the embassy they had a CIA department as well.
Okay.
They had an agent who they had sent down here whose name was Scranage, right? Sharon Marie Scranage. So Scranage was also born in 55 in Virginia. It's believed that she was, her whole family was a church-going family. She had 3 siblings. Her dad was a Marine at Quantico. Quantico, FBI for her. And then his brother was even a security guard, like just very known in that kind of
that field.
That field, exactly. And she, after she graduated a business college in about 84, so she graduated high school in 74, and then went on to college, which she finished about in 76, right? So 76 down to 78, she got married in 78 and got divorced in 1980, right? So in that short time, all these things had been achieved. But around this same time, when she finished college, she started working for the CIA in 76 before she got married in 78 as a stenographer. Those times, right? Exactly. And then somehow she got in 1982, after she had divorced, she got assigned to the African division of the CIA directorate, right? So now her focus, she had been moved to a department that focused on Africa. Yes, exactly. Then on about at the age of 28, in May of 1983, she was assigned to Ghana as Operation Support Assistant. So somehow when she came down in May in 1983, she crossed paths with Michael Soussoudis. And they started a relationship. The story is that Soussoudis, like I mentioned, was Jerry John Rawlinson's cousin.
Were they like related?
They are actually related.
Or is because of
no,
the color?
not the color. They were actually related.
Okay.
Yes, they were really related. So, as a business, even though he was a businessman, he was also sort of employed as an agent for the intelligence, Ghanaian intelligence, which was headed by the Captain Kojo Chikata.
Okay.
He was a capo at the time. He was in charge of. In fact, when Rawlins assumed power in 81, he chose him to lead that. Like I said, I think Jerry himself knew that after taking power from Liman, he had to be very serious about, because now that was the second coup. So anyway, somehow Soussoudis was able to sort of seduce, Marie to get intel. CIA high-level intel.
Wow.
And she also laid it down for him.
Give out the intel.
Yes.
The intelligence.
Hey, lava boy, meow, kakrana. So she did. She sort of gave him some info. Some of this info still classified, but the noted ones were that there was a coup that was being planned by one Godfrey Osei. Now, this Godfrey Osei guy had already, in 81, been arrested and detained and imprisoned by Jerry John Rawlins. But somehow he broke out of jail and left the country to the US. So this Godfrey Osei guy, together with the CIA, based on the information from Marie, which the CIA tried to deny, in saying it in several ways that they did not know about it, whatever. But there's evidence to back that they knew about it. So this guy was planning a coup against Jerry John Rawlins. Scranage was also able to tell Soussoudis that there were 8 Ghanaians who were working as informants for the CIA. And crazy thing is, these people some of them were part of the PNDC government.
Insiders.
I moved around the internet to find these names. And so I'm going to mention them.
The 8 names.
The 8 names.
Let's go.
So there was Naval Captain Opon. There was Colonel Bray. Colonel Bray was a military officer. And he was also he had a brother who was a deputy director of the Ghana Education Service. Then there was Ibele Duse, who was a former CEO of Ghana National Procurement Agency. Then there was Edu Jemfi, who was a former managing director of the Ghana Trade Corporation and also Achimota Brewery, ABC. There was Major John.
Achimota Brewery.
Yeah, ABC is Achimota Brewery.
Oh, okay.
If you don't know.
Okay. Before, not Accra Brewery.
No.
Okay.
There's Accra Brewery. There's Achimota Brewery. Achimota Brewery is eventually Guinness took over that brewery.
Oh, okay.
So, then there was Major John Kweku Awachi, who was also the deputy director at the Ministry of Defense. Then there is Theodore Etiedu, who was a police inspector of the Ghana Bureau of National Investigation, which was BNI. Then there is Stephen Bafo Ofosuado, who was a former chief superintendent of the police. Then finally, there was Robert Yao Apia, a technician at the Ghana Post. So
these are some of them have top positions.
Oh yeah. So somehow she gave that information to Soussoudis, including information still classified about other countries. So Soussoudis gave that information to Captain Kojo Chikata, who also somehow told he relayed the information to Cuba, East Germany, and Libya.
All the information about
these countries. So it became a crazy mess. That I don't know how many people know this, but there's a story about Muammar Gaddafi sponsoring the 1981 December 1981 coup with $1 million. Yeah. So you see, all these people were friends of Ghana at the time.
Right.
So it was easy for them to lay that information. When these people's name came out, they were arrested. But prior to that, what happened was there was a security officer who went to Marie's apartment, Scranage's apartment, and saw a photo of Soussoudis, who was in bed, Marie's bed, and had like put blankets up to his chest. And he was like, he suspected, they would like, why do you have this guy's picture? And I think it was easy for them to plant Soussoudis into the intelligence field because, I mean, he had lived in America most of his life.
And
He had a permanent, and he was a fine boy, right? So in 85, right, Scranage had gone to the US, and as part of a routine check, the CIA has subjects their agents from outside of from the country to polygraph tests. And during that routine checks or test is when they discovered that she was lying. And so they probed there, and for about 2 days, she gave them the information.
Everything that she
had told Soussoudis. And in around that time, in July of 1985, it was a Wednesday, I believe it was the 11th or so. But that particular Wednesday, at that time, she had given them information, and the CIA said, okay, fine. We need you to help us bring Soussoudis in. At the time, they wanted to catch him.
Okay.
He had also gone to the US for like a vacation or so. And Scranage reached out to him and said, yo, boss, I want us to meet and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, Aro, miss you. My day there. Miss you. Why? So they were supposed to meet in a hotel called the Springfield Holiday Inn hotel in Virginia.
Okay.
And then when he got there, they arrested him.
Okay.
So 1985 is when this eventually blew up. And so that is how come they got to know these 8 names that I mentioned and all of that.
Yeah.
So when Soussoudis was arrested there, the Ghanaian government at the time, mind you, they had given the names to the 8 people. The Ghanaian government had the names already. The PNDC had their names already.
Okay.
When they arrested Soussoudis, they also arrested the 8 people.
So all along, they knew
They had come to know.
They knew about the 8 people, but they didn't do any move.
They didn't
arrest them.
Yes.
They were just monitoring them.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, the whole relationship was about 18 months before she went to the US for the leave and stuff. And so they arrested these 8 people. Scranage herself was sentenced to 5 years in prison, which was later reduced to about 2 years. And then eventually, she didn't even serve the 2 years. She served about 8 months. But Soussoudis was sentenced to 20 years in prison. For espionage.
Okay.
For people who don't know, espionage is like spying. You know, espionage is basically spying on a rival country and getting info and relaying that info to your country for, you know. So he was sentenced to jail for that. But prior to even the whole trial and stuff, the PNDC had also arrested the 8 people here.
Yeah.
Put them through trial and sentenced them to 25 years in prison with hard labor.
Okay.
So when the Soussoudis sentence happened, immediately that particular day, the judge, even though he sentenced him to 25 years, he reduced it to time served. And the idea was that they were going to do an exchange. So at the time, there was the U.S. Embassy in Ghana was headed by one Mr. Fisher. So Fisher had reached out to, at the time there was no parliament, but there was a Ghanaian who was very respected in the PNDC. His name was Justice Daniel Francis Annan. So the U.S. Embassy, at the time it was President Reagan who was the president at the time.
Okay.
So his administration reached out to the embassy here through Fisher, and then Fisher reached out to Justice Daniel, and they had a deal like, yo, okay, release Soussoudis, bring Soussoudis, give us Soussoudis, and then also we will take the 8 people whose name had come up in the information that was leaked, and that was fair to them.
Wait. So they exchanged 1 person for 8 people?
Yes. The reason being, you see, these 8 people, right, when they had been caught, in fact, it is believed that there's a story that I chanced on, which was, I believe, let me check my date. The New York Times released a story in July 13th, 85, which was before they had been arrested. 4 days when Soussoudis had been arrested, that they believed that there was an informant that had been even killed already. So they knew that it was very important for them to get these people out. Else, the PNDC will unfortunately unalive them. And at the time, you have to remember that you will be tortured. And if they are tortured, they might give information out.
A whole lot.
A whole lot. So they decided, okay, fair, we'll give you Soussoudis, and then you give us these 8 people. And they agreed. So
okay.
in November, the trial and sentencing happened in November, 25th November, and they had given him the condition that once he's given that, he immediately has to come to Ghana, and they agreed to that as well. So he was released to the ambassador in the US at the time, and then on 3rd December. Yes, on 3rd December in 1985, that same year when the whole thing was called, he was brought back to Ghana. And when he came, there were people at the airport. Hey,
What?
Man fans happy for him. Man fans, hey, what boy Juma? Why we America? Woman run my intel. And the Ghanaians, they were Ghanaians, they were denationalized. Yeah, almost citizenship. You people are not Ghanaians again, and they deported them to the US.
Okay.
So the US now took over them and the whole family and relocated them to the US. Most of them were relocated or settled in Maryland and Virginia.
Maryland.
Yes, Maryland.
A lot of Ghanaians in Maryland.
I'm sure say that is probably why. Because I was thinking when I was researching, I realized this could be probably a reason why, because when my dad was in the US, that's where he was.
Maryland, a lot of Ghanaians there.
Anyway,
so these people were sacked from Ghana.
they were sacked from Ghana as part of the exchange or as part of the negotiations.
But that feels more. Somebody might see that as a good thing. No?
Me, when I was reading the story, I said, wait a second, yo.
Hey, like,
what to happen in the US?
You are living, they are sacking you from Ghana to go to the US.
It was very interesting to me.
It's just a punishment.
It's just like the bad children in Ghana whose parents, you are misbehaving in Ghana. Go to US. Maybe it's see. But at the time, they didn't see that as that. They were being deprived of seeing their family, leaving everything they have built over here. It was some way. But anyway, so that all of that happened. And eventually, we all know in 2000, President Kufuor took over power. When he took over power, Soussoudis was arrested. He was arrested.
He was in Ghana
He was in Ghana, yeah, when he came down.
In 2000, he was arrested?
Yes, 2001.
2001.
Yes.
Okay.
He was arrested for possessing weapons, like a host of weapons in his home. And the police and the military were given a tip-off. And then when they searched the house, they found serious ammunition. I have a list of some of them that I'll mention. I've left a couple of them out. But the main ones included 3 pistols, right? It was a Beretta pistol. There was a Makarov pistol. The Makarov pistol was mainly used by the Russians.
Okay.
Then there was the caliber 45 ACP pistol. So the Beretta gun pistol, it uses 9mm bullets.
Bullets, okay.
The 45 is a very high powered bullet. So there's a pistol just for that. There's a 10mm that comes after the 45, right? So he had all these 3 pistols. He had an AK-47. He had one Uzi machine gun. If you play game like those,
Uzi.
The Uzi guns, yes, exactly. Those black, yes.
Video game.
That machine gun, yes. So he had one of those 2. He had 3 grenades in his possession, and he had 3 smoke grenades. So they arrested him for that. At the time, if you remember, President Kufuor has set up the fast track court to deal with cases like this. Somehow, the fast track court went through the whole case and said, nah, it's not enough, bruh. So they acquitted and discharged him on the basis that he had a permit for those guns that was signed by the chief of staff then for discharge of his duties. The prosecution said, Soussoudis was a businessman. So why did he need all of these things to discharge? What duties was he performing that he needed these? But anyway, the fast track court said, nah, this is not enough. So they let him go. Right. And we didn't really hear of Soussoudis until in about September of 2004, just last year, that he unfortunately passed in South Africa. 2024. Okay. 2024, just last year, that he died in South Africa. And at the time when this thing happened, this CIA lover boy relationship happened, and in '85, when it eventually came into the newspapers, it was top story over the world.
Because this one is a big yawa.
Big yawa. Up to now, it is regarded as one of the biggest disgrace in CIA intel ever. For someone who was your agent to leak this kind of info that wasn't even just about one country. It had all of these countries together.
Yeah.
But you see, in that same 85, when it leaked, I've mentioned Godfrey Osei, who was planning a coup.
Yeah.
The story, and it's a story that one day we'll set aside to talk about that. It was a big one in the sense that in early 85, in February, early 85, but even prior to that, Godfrey Osei had started putting up a team together, a team of mercenaries.
In Ghana?
Outside.
Okay, outside Ghana.
Including former U.S. military veterans and some from South America. They had gone to get supply of about $1 million worth of ammunitions from Argentina. And they were going to bring it to Ghana. It was going to go via ship to Ghana. And in 85, when the story broke about the arrest and the intel that had leaked, the mercenaries who were carrying the ammunition, about 10 of them that were in charge of the ammunitions, they were bringing it to Ghana. Only about 3 of them knew the real reasons why those guns were being brought to Ghana. The rest they don't know. To them, they had been paid to be like a security guards to help bring the thing to Ghana.
So it's only 3 people who knew that it was.
It's only about 3, yes, for a coup. Godfrey had told them that there were about 90 people in Ghana that he had already spoken to that would be waiting at the shores of Ghana, and they were going to help them. They had also gotten some soldiers or some people from Togo that were all going to help them. Apparently, it wasn't necessarily true. But anyway, when they heard the story, instead of going straight, they decided that they were going to temporarily dock in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. There was a small town over there that they docked. And when they did, Brazil found out
about the guns,
about the ammunitions. It was not just guns, it was a host of stuff.
Right.
And so these mercenaries were arrested
in
Brazil. And they were also sentenced there for 4 years and 5 years or so. But about 4 of them actually were able to break out of jail just about 10 months. So when they came out, they also came to tell their story about all of these things. But again, like I said, it's something that we'll go into separately.
Right.
But that is literally the story of one of the biggest failures of the CIA in the CIA history that involved our own Jerry John Rawlinson's cousin and his lover girl.
When he was going to, like when he was moving to her, did he know that she was a CIA agent?
He did.
So it was
No, he was planted.
Oh, okay.
So it is believed that the Ghanaian intelligence agency planted him for that. Maybe initially when he started talking, maybe he didn't know. Maybe. But I doubt highly about that. Because when he came to Ghana, like I said, I mean, he was a businessman, there was small money, and he messed up with socialites, fine boy. So something like this was going to be easy to get. So yes.
Wow.
All this info.
And I'm very sure since then, the CIA and all these security agencies have maybe like put things in place to make sure such a thing never repeats itself.
Oh, I'm sure they did. They definitely did. They definitely, because it was a big issue. It really blew. It really blew up. And there's something I forgot to mention. When President Kufuor took over, the 8 people that I mentioned that were denationalized and sent to the US, some of them came down. And eventually Kufuor gave them positions in his government. Ebola Duse became the CEO of GMPC. Edu Jemfi became the head of ABC, Achimota Brewery. And Major Kweku Awachi became the deputy director at the Ministry of Defense. Yeah.
Why?
So this is what I think. When eventually there's when the National Reconciliation Commission happened, Awachi came down and came to give his evidence that all that was not true. And I don't know the truth, but his argument, his story could have a little bit of validity. You have to remember that at the time when you were thought to be someone who was going to be a problem, they could easily put some charge on you, right? So I don't know the reality, because there's also the bit that when the negotiations between the US and Ghana started about how they were going to get some people from here, there was a list that was initially released by the CIA and the American government, which later, after they had given it to the PNDC, later they changed it again. This time it came from the Washington, probably from the White House. They came with a new fresh list. So,
and what list was that? A
list of the people they wanted out,
okay.
right? So it could be that maybe the PNDC at the time manufactured certain names just to fit some people they already had issues with, just to make it look like. So he said, he was never a CIA agent. But it could also be that he's lying because he wants to save face and no one wants to be looked at as someone who's a snitcher or sellout, right? So maybe that's what Kufuor considered and thought there was nothing to fear.
But that's what, for somebody or some people that have been suspected of betraying the country.
But like I'm saying, it could be that they also believe that, because see, in the history, especially in the military rule, see, from especially 66 after the Nkrumah coup to 1989 and eventually to 1990, 1992 when the first election was held. At the time, it was easy for you could be, because someone like, you remember Captain Ifa Krabiadate? You know that he was a friend of Jerry John Rawlings and Bwachijan. But to the extent that when Rawlings's 1979 coup failed, right? So yes, the first coup failed. At the time, Captain Date wasn't even in Ghana. But when he came back, he came to Ghana after the failed thing. But the next day he was arrested because they believed that because he's friends with Bwachijan and Jerry John Rawlings, he probably was part of the whole plan, right?
Yeah.
And then when Jerry came back to power, he eventually released him, and he was working for them. Then somehow Jerry Rawlings arrested him and put him in jail because he had heard that Captain Date wanted to take over or was also planning a coup. So around that time, to be honest, there was that thing where you could be friends with someone before you know you are gone. Yeah. Because in 83, when the failed coup had happened, the one that I described that they eventually had factions and they failed. Halidou Jiwa was part of the 81 coup. He was part of the junior officers who helped to bring Jerry John Rawlings into power to take over Liman.
Yeah.
And somehow he became the leader of the 83 coup. Right? So at that time, there was that fear that, if you were behaving a certain way, you could easily be thought to be moving that way. Yeah. So maybe that is why.
So they were just basically eliminating any threats.
Yes, right. So maybe they had the real list of the Ghanaians who were working for the CIA, but eventually decided to plant certain people in. Right? There are certain people that did not come back. Right? Out of the three names, most of them they did not come back. Someone like someone like Stephen Baffo, who was the police chief, he did not come back. He died in the US. I've actually have a poster of him, his funeral. He died in 2018 in the US. So yeah, maybe it was some people did in fact do it, or they were actually spying for the CIA. But maybe some names were just included, because apart from the 8 that I mentioned, some security heads were also implicated. I don't know if you remember or know lawyer Sam Okujeto, very old man. He too was implicated at the time. In fact, his bank accounts were frozen.
Wow.
Right? But
he had nothing
to do with it. Okay. And eventually he became a member of the MPP. So one thing also about all of this, and that's just going through the history of coups and political leaders, I realized that most of the times the people in both factions, NDC, MPP, were there because one had done the other wrong. Like, for instance, someone like Henry Nana Abuachi in the MPP, his father owned the biggest mattress company in Africa at the time, West Africa at the time. His name was Boache Mattress. And the PNDC took everything away from him. So some people like that, they have serious hatred for the PNDC. Okay. It's the same way that there are members of the PNDC who also got into the party because at the time the UP party or Liman did something against them, and so they felt like, me too, I'm going to remain here, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Like I said, one day we'll go into the hierarchy, the timelines of coups and all the political leaders since what's the name? Since Kwame Nkrumah.
But today it's mainly about
it's mainly about Soussoudis and Marie Scranage. Yes.
Hard. But I doubt such a thing can happen today. Do you think it can?
Oh, bro. Easy cry.
Well, I think maybe they've learned their lesson, and security will now be tighter. If they find out you're dating someone, they'll do a lot.
Are you talking about the CIA?
Yes.
But it's not for sure, because I mean there have been minor issues that have occurred with CIA agents, whatever, and that is why they still make sure they do their test to make sure that you are not leaking information or whatever. There's also a reason why some of these spy movies that you watch, people are being, in fact, the CIA might be unaliving their own agents after it is happening. They are touching their own agents who probably have gone defunct. All these movies that you watch, it's reality.
Wow.
So I'm not sure that it's totally gone. They are definitely high on security now, and who they kind of allow to be part of them.
Yeah.
But there's someone might go defunct. Like there are people who are double agents.
Yeah.
Recently, there's a story I chanced on like that. Double agency. He was a double agent. The person was a double agent for America and Russia. Yeah. So anything can happen, really. But in Ghana, I doubt. In Ghana, I doubt.
Share your views in the comment section. And if you have any other thing you would like to add, kindly let us
feel free. Drop it. Yes. By the way, the Fennec story is next. So watch out for that. People have been requesting for that.
Yes.
And so you got that. And a lot.
Kofi Chinto and something
Ahmed Swali.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll be delving into more cases.
Yes.
Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Crime de la Crime. And we are also on Spotify. Very soon we're working on all the other platforms. We'll be there very, very, very soon. So yes. In case you are bored, just enter Headless YouTuber channel. Go to the Crime de la Crime playlists and enjoy yourself. I know.
Yapon.